He thought he was just helping a poor old man. But that one night of kindness opened a door to a secret no one could imagine. It was a cold winter evening in a quiet village, and most people had already shut their doors to keep the chill away. 14-year-old Ryan sat by the fireplace with his mother, helping her sort lentils for dinner. They didn't have much, but they were content with what they had. Just as his mother poured the last batch into the pot, a soft knock echoed through their wooden door. Ryan looked up, puzzled. No one visited at that hour. Curious and slightly cautious, he opened the door and saw an old man shivering in the dark, dressed in torn clothes, with snowflakes stuck in his long beard. "Please, boy, just a place to rest for the night," the man said with trembling lips. Ryan hesitated, but something in the man's eyes, something soft and broken, moved him. Without thinking twice, he stepped aside and welcomed him in. Ryan's mother was surprised but said nothing. She quickly offered the man some soup and a dry blanket. The beggar thanked them softly, almost as if in used to kindness. He sat by the fire, his eyes never meeting theirs for too long. Ryan watched him closely, noticing how the old man flinched at every loud sound and kept glancing at the door like he was afraid someone was following him. That night, as the wind howled outside, Ryan gave up his own bed for the stranger and lay down near the fire. He couldn't shake the feeling that this man carried a story too heavy to bear alone. But little did he know, this one act of kindness would lead to something far greater than he could imagine. His life, simple and quiet, was about to take a turn he never expected. The next morning, golden sunlight poured through the cracks in the wooden windows, filling the small cottage with warmth. Ryan stretched near the fireplace, rubbing his eyes. He turned toward the bed where the old man had slept, but it was empty. The blanket was neatly folded, and the pillow untouched, as if no one had slept there at all. Confused, Ryan rushed outside, scanning the path for any sign of the beggar. There was no one. Only faint footprints in the snow leading toward the forest. He returned inside, puzzled and a little worried. As his mother prepared breakfast, Ryan noticed something strange near the fireplace. A small, folded piece of cloth was lying on the ground. Inside it was an old, silver coin, unlike anything Ryan had ever seen. It shimmered oddly in the light, and engraved on its surface were tiny symbols he couldn't read. Beneath the coin was a torn piece of parchment with a single sentence written in shaky handwriting. "Kindness is never forgotten, and one day, it will return to you when you need it most." Ryan showed the coin and note to his mother, but she only smiled and said, "Sometimes angels visit us in the humblest of forms. Maybe you welcomed one last night." Ryan laughed softly, brushing it off, but deep inside, he felt something had shifted. For days after, he kept the coin with him everywhere, like a lucky charm. He didn't know why, but it gave him comfort. In the days that followed, Ryan went back to his usual routine, school, chores, helping his mother, but something inside him had changed. The boy who once saw the world as simple now looked at it with curious eyes, wondering if something magical had just touched his life without him even realizing it. A few months had passed since the night Ryan had helped the beggar, and life had returned to normal, or so it seemed. One chilly afternoon, as Ryan returned home from school, he noticed an envelope resting on the wooden table in the living room. His mother was holding it with a puzzled look on her face. "This just arrived, but there's no name, no stamp, no address," she said, handing it to Ryan. The envelope was thick and made of old paper, sealed with wax that bore the same strange symbols from the silver coin. Ryan's heart skipped. Slowly, he opened it. Inside was a formal letter, written in clean handwriting. "To the boy who showed kindness when no one else did, you are invited to a place where such hearts are needed. Follow the instructions below and come alone." The rest of the letter included directions to a location on the edge of the village, an abandoned watchtower that hadn't been used in years. Ryan was stunned. Who had written this? Was it a joke? Still, something inside him said this was real. That night, while his mother was asleep, Ryan quietly packed his small backpack with a flashlight, the silver coin, and some snacks. The wind howled as he made his way through the quiet village toward the edge. Trees swayed, and the moonlight guided his steps. When he reached the tower, it stood cold and silent against the night sky. Ryan took a deep breath and stepped inside, unsure of what waited for him. But he knew one thing: his act of kindness months ago had started something bigger than he could understand. And now, his life was about to take a turn he never could have imagined. As Ryan stepped into the tower, he expected darkness and dust, but what he found was beyond imagination. The inside was lit with a soft, golden glow, as if the walls themselves breathed warmth. The air felt different, thick with magic and mystery. As he walked deeper into the tower, a spiral staircase revealed itself, leading downward into the earth. Ryan hesitated, but the silver coin in his pocket began to glow faintly, pulling him forward. Step by step, he descended, until the cold stone gave way to a hidden underground hall, filled with people, young and old, all dressed in simple robes. They turned as he entered, and an older woman with kind eyes stepped forward. "Welcome, Ryan," she said gently. "We've been waiting for you." Ryan's mouth fell open. "How do you know my name?" he asked, voice trembling. The woman smiled. "The one you helped wasn't just a beggar. He was a watcher, one of us. He was sent to find a heart pure enough to join our cause." She gestured around. "This is the circle of the quiet flame. We protect the world from forgotten dangers, powers that feed on cruelty and selfishness. Your kindness lit a signal none of us could ignore." Ryan listened, overwhelmed, as she explained how rare it was to find someone who helped without expecting anything in return. They believed Ryan's compassion had awakened a forgotten bond, one that could heal places where darkness had grown strong. Ryan had always felt ordinary. But now, standing in this hidden sanctuary with people who saw something more in him, he began to believe that maybe his simple act had truly meant something. Maybe kindness was more powerful than he had ever imagined. And maybe, just maybe, he was meant to be part of something much greater. Ryan stood in silence, surrounded by people who had once been strangers, but now felt like family. Over the next few weeks, he learned more about the Circle of the Quiet Flame, their mission to protect the world's balance through kindness, courage, and unseen acts of good. He trained with them, listened to their stories, and slowly discovered strengths he never knew he had. But one evening, as he sat by the quiet fountain in the center of the underground hall, the same old man he had helped that night appeared once more. His robe shimmered faintly, and his eyes were filled with warmth. "You were never chosen by accident," he said softly. "You reminded us that light still lives in the world." Ryan asked if he would ever return to his old life. The man smiled. "Your old life is not gone, it's just changed. Go back, share what you've learned. The world needs more hearts like yours." Ryan returned to his village, but he was no longer the same. He spoke kindly to strangers, helped quietly when no one was looking, and listened more deeply to others' pain. People noticed. A small ripple of change began. His story spread, not through loud words, but through simple actions that inspired others. And though he never spoke of the tower or the circle, he knew they were still watching, still guiding. Years passed, but the memory of that night, the cold, the kindness, the coin, never faded. It became the foundation of a new life. And somewhere, deep beneath the earth, the circle waited, watching for the next kind soul who would unknowingly change the world with a single act of compassion. Because sometimes, it only takes one night to become someone who brings light to the darkest places. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to Human Fables for more inspiring and emotional true life stories every week.